let's take it a step further. I believe it's what interview was that Iron Sheik did where he discusses putting, was it the Greatest Superstars of the 80s?
Yeah, it's either that one or the AWA one.
I think it's the Greatest Superstars of the 80s.
That might have been, yeah.
Well, Iron Sheik sits there and he talks about, you know, working for Vince McMahon Sr., working for Vince in New York, and putting over Hogan before Hulkamania was about to take off. You know, Hulkamania was pretty much about to be born.
Right.
Was the 80s DVD, Superstars of the 80s DVD.
Yeah. Iron
Sheik goes into a number of stories of how, you know, this is around the time when he was about to leave and go back to the AWA. You know, he had, you know, came back and Greg Gagne from the AWA had wanted him to return. Yeah. And Iron Sheik came out and he had said that instead of dropping the title to Hogan tonight, I guess the night that I believe Hulkamania was born. Right. And he offered him $100,000 to break his leg, to pin him, and bring the belt with him to the AWA. And Iron Sheik has said, you know, one, he wasn't going to do it. One, because he had so much respect for Vince McMahon Sr. You know, this is when Sr. was still working for Vince Jr. You know, he was pretty much in charge of talent relations at the time. Okay. And he said he had taken really good care of him, and, you know, he had given him, you know, he had paid him a lot of money. He was getting paid a lot, like $50,000 a week or something like that. And he said, I'm not going to do it because, one, you know, out of respect for Vince Sr., because he's taking good care of me while I'm here at the WWF. He said it's against his religion, and, you know, he just wasn't that kind of person. Right. How do you feel as a Hulkamaniac yourself with this type of thing being a culture? Bounties, of course. I mean, this is big money. You know, bounties ain't like, this is big money. This is 80s. You know what I mean?
So it was hard to come by. It wasn't like these. You got maybe a mid-card making that much money.
I mean, exactly. I mean, this is big money in those days. You know, someone offering you not a contract. They're gonna say, I'm gonna give you $100,000, break his leg, pin him, bring the belt with you. How do you feel about Hulkamania not being born that night if he does do that because of this culture, though? Because this is just the way it was. How do you respond to that as a fan, looking at it today?
That looks to make you think, where would professional wrestling be at today?
Right.
You would think that now, because certainly, alright, Vince was the brains behind Hogan, but Hogan was the engine. Right. So they needed each other just as much. Looking back, you know, they say hindsight is 20/20. I still can't think of anybody who could have really took off like Hulkamania. Right. Maybe if Vince would have got Sting. Maybe. But looking at that WWE roster at the time, as much as we love Savage, he wasn't going to be the Hulkamania drawing power.
Not during that time.
No, you know. Warrior hadn't come up yet. Right. With Jim Hellwig. So, looking back at it, you know, even if Ric Flair was in WWE around that time, right, I don't see him really skyrocketing the way Hogan, because Hogan was a larger-than-life human figure. Right. So he had the body for it, and then that would allow him to be even more of a presence and allow him to even have more of that engine work even better. Right. So I just don't see professional wrestling being where it is today. Okay. It'd probably still be a casual sport. I wouldn't say that, but I would probably say it'd be where boxing is, to be honest with you. I just don't see the crossover sports entertainment factor. Now, granted, you know, a new star could have came along. Right. But right now it's just hard to see. What do you think?
I think it would really have thrown a wrench in, like you said, in what we know today as professional wrestling, because, I mean, granted, you could have taken your time to do it again, but the broken leg takes time to come back from. That's not nothing to really fool around with. And I think if something like that would have happened to a top guy, granted, that was the tradition and that was the culture that it was, one of those taboo things, like we said, that you didn't talk about. I think if that would have happened on such a larger scale, I think we would have, like you said, we'd have never got to where we would like to as far as wrestling fans and wrestling product, because people would just keep doing the same thing. Right. When you want to leave, I mean, you look at it, say that was going on during the 90s with the Monday Night Wars. Yeah. With Eric Bischoff and WWE. I mean, you know how bad that would really be? You know, if guys were like, you know, say you're about to, Bret Hart and Shawn, 97. If that was still the tradition, You know, and Bischoff could have said, you know what, you know, break Sean's leg and then bring the title over here. Like, say Bret Hart found out with, hey, they're trying to screw you over. They're not going to drop the title to you. And Bret Hart knows he's leaving. He could have easily, okay, when they do the thing, I could, you know, break his leg and then sharpshooter, pull his knee out or something like that, win, leave, and now their top guy is injured while I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Like, that could have potentially been the issue with Hogan and Sheik. Only because of this whole thing of bounties. Because that's the way people decide to choose to solve their issues with people.
Right.
You know, that's how dangerous that could have been. You know, even when Sean and Bret had the situation, they were trying to teach Sean different things to protect himself just in case, because like he can really hurt you.
Yeah.
You know, his father is Stu Hart, so you know a lot of those wrestling submissions can hurt.
Yep.
You know, so I think it will really change the whole scope of professional wrestling as we see it.
Yeah.
And it's good. I'm not sure where they sort of put it into it. I think it evolved to something lesser.
Okay.
But like you look at wrestling today, on Randy Orton's DVD, he talks about AOPs or accidentally on purpose. I think you see more of those than you do actually do full bounties. But I'm glad that somehow, I don't know when this changed, but I'm glad, you know, it's they sort of got a hold on it before somebody really seriously got in some serious trouble.
Certainly, you know, because like you said, AOPs nowadays, it's just something. The most you might see, they might put a bruise on somebody, maybe do something that might cause them to be out a week or two.
Potato you in the face or something like that.
Yeah.
Donkey punch you.
Right. But that's more so that's a personality issue. It's not more trying to take your spot. Because now, let's look at it now. Everybody's making money.
Right.
You got endorsements. You got T-shirts. You got
that's the thing.
DVDs. So everybody's making money. Back then, everybody wasn't making money. You could be on the WWE card and be on the roster,
right,
and only making. I think Bret was like they was getting about $200 a week, his first contract.
Right.
You know, so everybody now with merchandise, like you said, it would have threw a wrench into things with if you stop Hulkamania, because that was what started the whole merchandise, the action figures, everything. Hulkamania really caused everything to go wild.
Right.
Without that, you probably would see a lot of stuff going on today. Far as the Vader and McFoley situation, that was more of a personal battle anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you already got two people where they don't like each other, and then you rip that man's ear off.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, all right, yeah, we get money. I don't care about you. I ain't trying. It's not. It gets to a point where I'm not trying to take your spot. I'm just trying to take you out.
Right. I mean, it's crazy because, okay, so you're a wrestler, and you're in the ring, and somebody's just trying to literally beat the crap out of you, and you have an idea that maybe someone's trying to put a bounty on me. How do you respond to that? Do you approach the guy about it? Do you ask about it? Do you find out who put the bounty on you or what? Like, you just get in the ring, and all of a sudden, you know, you guys are calling a match like you're supposed to down the line, and all of a sudden you notice this guy's doing things like he's like really beating the crap out of you, and it's like, yo, you really, you know.
But I think the first human nature is to react, and first thing you usually do, you sit back, you react, and you kind of somebody throw you a stiff, or you throw them one back. Then I think once you realize the bounty, you gotta approach everybody, and in certain cases, you know, not to be a snitch, but you gotta approach the powers that be. I mean, this is your livelihood. This is your career. It's something you destined. This is something you put time, training, effort in. You gotta approach the powers that be.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this.